If you want all the latest news of NBA 2K and also NBA in general, you should follow me on my Twitter account at PackHoopsYT. Not only that, I do giveaways all the time when it comes to VC, games, and also even consoles. So check it out, follow me, and see you there. ¿Qué pasa to the Pack? It is Pack here. I am not in the best mood because this free agency for the Spurs was pretty brutal for me. I'm not going to lie. This has been a really bad free agency. Now, I'm going to cover all the teams in NBA 2K21, all the major changes, how everyone's looking like. The free agency is not over, but we're getting like really close to it being over. So I'm just going to cover all the teams now. Before this video starts, please be an OG, join the pack, and subscribe. That'd be very, very clutch. So what I'm going to do is go through every single team and see how the team looks now after free agency. Okay? So, first things first, the Philadelphia 76ers. So first things first, Andre Drummond. Sure, dude. What an interesting situation for the Sixers. He's definitely going to be the backup center. People are saying that he might be the center and then make Joel be the power forward. That's not going to happen. So I guess it's okay if he's the backup center, but it's just an interesting pickup for them, for sure. The Milwaukee Bucks actually don't get too different. They pick up Rodney Hood, and I mean, no one ever complains about having Rodney Hood on their team. I mean, he's an okay backup. Besides that, the defending champions really didn't change their team that much, but why would you if you just won a championship? So you run it back, baby, run it back. So this is easily one of the biggest changes of all teams, the Chicago Bulls, man. Okay, so Zach LaVine officially now has a lot of help. DeMar freaking DeRozan is on this team, and even though he didn't work on the Spurs, this team does not need him to shoot threes like the Spurs do, and this can be very helpful, especially on the East. This is a playoff team no matter what. Plus, you have one of the better centers in the NBA. Plus, now you have Lonzo freaking Ball, who's going to get even better next season. Like, he's getting better every year. People forget that. I mean, I think he was averaging like 15 this year. He's going to average even more next year and be a good defender. Like, it's a W for this team. They lose a couple players, and they might be losing Lauri Markkanen, but now they have Alex Caruso, who's a good backup point guard or even shooting guard. I mean, you got some stuff here. I think this is a massive W for this team, right? The Cleveland Cavaliers, so they re-signed Jared Allen, and then they draft Evan Mobley. Not a big change for the Cavs. I kind of expect them to be in the similar position they were last year, if we're being honest. So for the Boston Celtics, we already know about Al Horford, and I already talked about Josh Richardson before in the last video. Not the biggest change for this team with Chris Dunn as well. All they did was get a little bit of depth, and having Al Horford back is a good thing, right? But I don't know if they got that much better than last year, but we'll see. Hopefully they did. So the Clippers really didn't make any changes, so there's nothing really to talk about for them. But again, if Kawhi was healthy last year, they could have competed for a championship, so I don't see them really being worried about anything. So the Grizzlies, you already know about Steven Adams. I already talked about that. And Eric Bledsoe. Not major changes for the Grizzlies either. The Atlanta Hawks got to re-sign John Collins. That's a very good position for them. They have no complaints about their team at all, and they're just trying to run it back from last year, and hopefully they got better, right? The Miami Heat, this is the big one. Kyle Lowry is now going to be the starting point guard for this team, and assuming that he's not worse than last year, and assuming he's as good as we know Kyle Lowry to be, even though he's getting older, this is a great pickup for this team. He's a defender, he can score, it matches this entire team's chemistry, especially this big three. Like, this team definitely got better. There's no argument there, right? And then also, they get PJ Tucker, great defender. Dwayne Dedmon returns to the team. I mean, there's no complaints for this team at all, I feel like. The Charlotte Hornets lose Devontae Graham, which is actually a pretty big loss, but I think, and Malik Monk. So actually, the Hornets lost more than they gained, if we're being honest. But we'll see how the season goes next year. The Utah Jazz, I know they picked up Rudy Gay, right? Which is a good backup player. I mean, it's another piece to this extremely deep team. But this team needs to perform better in the playoffs if they want to win a championship for sure. The Kings with no moves at all, which is just something that, like, that's not okay for this team. They need to get better for sure. The Knicks make some good moves. They re-signed everybody that was good for them last year, which makes me happy. And we add Evan Fournier. So a lot of people are saying on Twitter that the Knicks made a terrible decision signing him. So what we're probably going to do is play him as small forward, right? I'm okay with this. We needed a shooter. Evan Fournier is one of the better three-point shooters in the freaking league, okay? I have no problem with this as a Knicks fan. I'm happy. W for me. I'm okay with this. So the Lakers, okay, one of the biggest changes of anybody. We already talked about Russell Westbrook, but now they have Carmelo Anthony. Dwight Howard returns to the team. Malik Monk, which is a steal. Trevor Ariza, Wayne Ellington, Kent Bazemore. And then you also have this extreme depth of everybody else. You keep Taylor Horton-Tucker. Like, this team is a big three. Now, people are saying this is a super team. I think it's definitely a big three. And I mean, have we ever considered big three super teams? I think super teams is what like the Warriors were with like KD, or I guess like what the Nets are with 3 top 10 players in the league. That's more of a super team. This is a really, really, really good team. Arguably a super team, right? It's still, I mean, I still have them winning the championship with this team, but we'll see. The Magic, rebuild time for them, honestly. That's all this is. The Dallas Mavericks actually had a really bad offseason because they needed help for Luka Doncic, and really they didn't get it. I mean, they got Moses Brown. That could be a really good situation for them. Reggie Bullock was a good player on the Knicks, in my opinion. He played good defense and shot threes, and that's good for that team. But like, they needed somebody to help Luka as a second option, and Kristaps Porzingis is either injured or inconsistent. And so it's like, I don't know what they're expecting. I guess they're just deciding to run it back, and hopefully it works out for them. The Nets with no major changes, just re-signings, which is good for them. I mean, they're not complaining. They have a really good team. The Nuggets didn't make any moves at all. The Pacers also were very, very quiet. The Pelicans, so now we know about Jonathan Valanciunas, right? We already know about that. And they get Devontae Graham. You know, he's a little inefficient, if we're being honest. He doesn't shoot very well. He's an offensive point guard, which is more that we can say about Lonzo. So I think that's at least something they can rely on. And Jonas Valanciunas is a good center, and this team on paper should be able to make the playoffs, but we'll see if that actually happens, right? They also get Thomas Satoransky, which is a good backup guard. No problems here. The Pistons, they draft Cade Cunningham. Sadiq Bey was good. Jeremy Grant was good. And they signed Kelly Olynyk. You know what? For the Pistons, it's not that bad. So for the Raptors, they lose Kyle Lowry, but they get Goran Dragic, which is still a really good player, but he's a little older. We'll have to wait and see how this turns out for the Raptors, but it's not looking very good for them. So for the Rockets, they signed Jalen Green. Well, they draft Jalen Green. And they kind of have the same team they had last year. Hopefully they can stay healthy, though. And Daniel Tice as well. So, I mean, there's some stuff here, but don't expect this team to be very good next season. The Spurs have the You're not ready to hear this. The Spurs have the lowest average rating in the NBA, bro. Like, oh my God. Well, we're officially rebuilding for sure. I'm hoping that Derek White gets a lot better, and Keldon Johnson gets a lot better, and DeJounte Murray. And I mean, Thaddeus Young has good seasons. But I don't know, man. I don't know about this one at all. We'll just have to wait and see. The Suns keep everybody, obviously. I mean, why wouldn't you? And also, they get Landry Shamet, which we already talked about. So, good signings for them. It's just, they're just trying to run it back, basically. The Thunder get Kemba Walker. You already knew that, but I don't know if he's going to stay on that team or not. SGA, I mean, it's just rebuild time for this team, honestly. And you hope that all these young guys get even better next season, which they should, but they're probably going to be a bad team again. The Timberwolves, no major changes, no major signings, but we already talked about how this big three should be a lot better next season, and they could make the playoffs, but we'll have to wait and see for that as well. The Blazers, no real big changes for this team either, which, even though, if we're being honest, they probably should have made some changes because they didn't do good last year, but whatever. The Warriors are not worried at all with Steph Curry, with Klay Thompson, Draymond, Wiggins, Jordan Poole, and I don't know what's going to happen with Kelly Oubre, but we'll have to wait and see for that. And then the Wizards, they get Spencer Dinwiddie to help Bradley Beal. Rui Hachimura is going to get better. Montrezl Harrell's not a bad center. Thomas Bryant's going to be healthy next year. And Kuzma, you're hoping gets a lot better. And you know what? Maybe the Wizards made some good decisions here. We're not sure. On paper, this is a lot better than I thought. But we'll have to wait and see for the Wizards. A lot of changes. The league changed a lot after this one. But you know what? The Lakers are looking really good. The Spurs are looking really bad. We'll have to wait and see. What do y'all think about this? Who was the most improved team? Who was the most unimproved team? My lights just turned off, but I'm just going to end it here. Leave it in the comments below. If you like this channel, please give it a sub. I will see you guys next time.